victory, 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's gonna get through it all and score his first career win. Saturday Night Racing League and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another presentation of the iRacing Super Formula B Series here on VSPEED. Brought to you in part by Graham Crackers Racing. No matter if you're searching for speed or a place to race, you've found it. Stop by the Graham Crackers Racing Discord server where everybody's welcome. Looking for a team? You're in luck. We're actively recruiting both Super Formula 23 and NASCAR teams. Join by using the link in the description below or the QR code on your screen. Also, don't forget to check out RaceReady 3D's link in the description below. And of course, the partnership with SimRaceNation.com, making all of this possible for us here on VSPEED. And speaking of, Logan's back this week. Logan Santa-Threlka leading the show here tonight. I'm Morgan Cook, your color and producer this evening. Cameras presented by Dougie Beard. And hope that you like the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a moment of the racing action. But Logan, you're back. What are you looking forward to here tonight in Indianapolis?
First of all, so happy to be back. This is one of my favorite series to be a part of. The action through and through, week by week, is always top tier. And tonight, we're going to put it on display at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the road course. That'll be 14 corners around this track. It is flat, it is fast, and we are going to have a south wind. So that's going to be at the tail of these cars as they come down the fastest portion of the track right across the front stretch. Down into turn 1, 2, 3, and 4. Very tricky section. A lot of switchback there. A lot of different momentum changing maneuvers you have to make on the brakes, on the throttle. And you got a short straightaway from 5 and 6 down into turn 7. Hard left-hand 90. Another quick little off throttle, on throttle section for 8, 9, and 10. Then we'll be right back out to what would be turn 2 on the outer oval surface for turn 12 down into 13 and 14. From right back around the front stretch where we will see these drivers reaching the top speeds of 182 miles an hour, probably even a little bit faster with some draft.
It's definitely going to be fun to watch. Drivers navigate this course today for 30 laps. Here's a look at the points after one full week of participation, where the tail end of week number 2, Marcos Alarson, last season's champion, currently the points leader. Elliott Cott, Dennis Branch, Pio Perez, and Max Van Gool, your top 5. Anyone stand out on this list to you, Logan?
Well, we've got our normal names that we're used to seeing up there. Alarcon, of course, right there in the picture, right in the lead. Dennis Branch always stands out to me. Rohan Sanier back there in 6th place. He's not looking too bad at all. Andrew Petty up here in the 8th spot. And we've got a couple new names throughout the marquee here. Nadia Mel back there in 12th. That's another one you can recognize from last season. Felipe Sarkis back in the top 20. But I don't believe we've got a couple of those drivers on here today. Felipe Sarkis will be starting out in the top 10. Sanier also in the top 10. So let's get right down to it. And taking the pole for tonight, none other than Yansu Foster. No surprise there. Bad Fast all last season will be starting out P1 in the number 3. JT Smeaton in the 2 will start in 2nd. Dan Yang in the number 4 will start out in 3rd with a new name to me, Brandon Rosenborough in the number 1 machine in 4th. In 5th, Gonzalo Pio Perez in the 10. Next to the 11 is Simon Scholes in 6th. 7th, we'll go to Larry Johnson in the 13 machine. Next to the 14 of Max Bloor in 8th. Rounding out our top 10, it is that 9 of Felipe Sarkis next to the 5 of Rohan Sanier.
Starting 11th tonight will be Benjamin David in the 18. Miguel Fachado will start 12th in the 12. 13th to be Ludwig Ransson, apologies for that, in the 7 machine. Leandro Tercetti in 14th tonight. 15th, Andrea Nitty. Rob Angus alongside in 16th. 17th to be Andrea Zanin in the 19 machine. Max Shadley in 18th in the 6. 19th to be Emmanuel Olivieri with Federico Cristofoli alongside in 20th. Last driver on the grid will be Breaklear in the 21 machine. And that's a look at the grid. Just about ready to get this thing fired up. Quick race analysis on the side of your screen. 30 laps. Pit road speed limiter is enabled if required. Wet tires optional, although it's no forecast for rain here tonight. Local yellows only. Open setups, as always, in this open series.
Well, Morgan, it looks like we've got everybody gridded up. The lights are coming on soon enough. They will be off, and here we go for lap number 1 at Indianapolis Road Course. It's a scramble already before we even make it to the bricks. But up at the front, Yansu Foster with an early lead will pick up a black flag off of that pole position. We'll immediately have to bring it down for a drive-through. Actually, I believe it'll be a stop-and-go penalty for that number 3. Not how you want to start this race out. That will eventually give JT Smeaton the lead, but here we are in the middle of the pack, and the scramble is still on back there.
Yeah, you saw the stutter start at the start of the race. He went, realized he jumped it, but at that point, there's not much else you can do. Foster overshoots turn 1 anyway. He's going to come back up into the racetrack, and they're all kind of checking up behind him as they work through this technical section, 7 through 10.
Yansu Foster gets lucky to filter back into 2nd place after the mess up down into turn 7, coming through turn 11 out to that middle section of turns 1 and 2 of the big oval. Back down to turn 12, a hard right-hander, easy to lock up the rear tires on the braking. Through 13, now the sweeping right-hander back to 14 to the front stretch. Yansu Foster will immediately bring it down pit road. You can see just over the pit wall that halo coming through. And single filed out down the front stretch, 183 miles an hour on the board as JT Smeaton dives down into turn 1 and spinning in the back.
That's Scholes. That was for 2nd. Scholes was around. Perez as well. Heavy damage on the 10. Let's go back and have a look at it.
All the speed you could ever want coming down the front stretch, snaking down there in the back of the field. To the outside, Scholes late on the brakes, just barely locks him up, and a little love tap to the nose will knock off that front wing. Oh, in contact, rejoining the track. Might have been a little bit of netcode there. It looked like the front right disconnected, but immediately reappeared back on the vehicle. I believe that was number 10. Not too sure, but back towards the front here. You're looking at Dan Yang holding on to that second spot. Looks like Felipe Sarkis having issues now
big crash
as well.
back here. That's Andrea Nitty. That car is destroyed. Andrea Zanin as well. Also heavy damage on that machine. Oh, there's one right there. That's Sarkis. Oh, that was the contact with Zanin, I think. Oh my gosh. And then we just saw Nitty get clipped as well. Yeah, definitely a lot of drivers having trouble here early in this race.
That turn 12, it's very hard to keep the rear end to not lock up. Those tires, they're not quite up to temperature yet. You would think that 2.5, 3 laps would do the trick, but certainly not. You're going to wait until about lap 5 to 7 before your tires are at optimal temperature. You can really hit that braking zone hard, but for now, into turn 12, you'd expect to see these drivers on the brakes a little bit earlier than that 300-foot mark.
Pass right there. Well timed. That was Oliveri around Tercet.
For that 9th position, Oliveri on a roll, looking to catch up with Ludwig Granson in the number 7, down the 8th position.
Oh, big move.
Oh, really shooting it to the inside of the track. Oliveri blocking for that position, does not want to let Tercetti back around. It works out to the advantage for now.
And here's another one. It feels like those drivers are going to drive off the end of the racetrack as they enter turn number 1. They carry so much speed, but there's a bit of that dip that really catches the car and allows you to rotate nicely. Oh, there's a driver off the racetrack. Brake clear, the 21.
In the 15th position, just ahead of Jansu Foster by about 11 seconds as we rejoin the track back here on the replay. Find out exactly what happened down into turn 1. Hard on the brakes late in the zone, but makes the apex. Swings out a little bit wide for turn 2. Turn 3, if you keep the right side tires on those rumble strips.
That's exactly what he did.
That would help out, but got to the outside there for turn 4. A little bit of dirt on the track can certainly upset the outside of the car very easily. It's 3 wide.
I was just saying, we are 3 wide into turn number 1. That is not something you see every day. Oh my goodness, racing all the way throughout this field.
This is one of the most difficult sections of the track. If you carry a little bit too much speed out of turn 1 and try to make that left-hander of turn 2, you can push out wide extremely easily. And here we go through a small chicane of 5 and 6. This is your second highest speed area of the track. Down into turn 7. Hard on the brakes, downshifting into second gear. The 7 of Ludwig Granson looking to make a move to the inside. Backs it down behind Benjamin David. We're looking off the rear of the 18 right now.
Really did a great job in that section of the racetrack, able to gain a little bit of time as we head into 12, 13, and 14 here. But look at the 7 catch all the way back up. A little bit alternate line for these two drivers. Logan, in your experience, were you able to find that, you know, moving the car, manipulating kind of how the entry and exit worked really changed how you could get through the corners?
We're talking about anywhere from a half second to a second of advantage. If you can find that optimal line, this track is so long, 2.43 miles around this circuit. So there's a lot of wiggle room to be had. And these rumble strips, they're not like most rumble strips you would see. It's a spa
off the racetrack for
Granson there. And you know, it's about maximizing as much of the track that is possible in corner exit speed. Right now is what you're seeing is we're going to see another block from Granson on Oliveri. To the inside goes the 8, overshoots the exit just a touch, but enough room to keep it in front of Granson this time once more. Down into turn 10. We're going to see that 8 of Oliveri be able to put some little bit of a separation between that 18 and the 8. Apologies, the 8 and the 7.
It looks like it from here. Yeah, as you see, Granson pushing a little bit too hard right now, just missing the exits a little bit off in the grass. on this perfectly manicured Penske perfect grass, if you will. Everything around this place looks like a golf course.
Well,
including the golf course.
There is a golf course.
Oh, driver way off pace here. I think that was that Glore? I don't know who that was. I just saw a car stopped in the middle of the racetrack. Oh, it could be Chris Afuli. It is.
So the 20 of Chris Afuli in that 17th spot, currently running, well, last lap by was a 114.331. Our current leader, JT Smeaton, last time by was 108.997. Again, these lap times will get faster as these tires come up to temperature in that optimal wear area. So keep an eye on that, and also the push to pass that is available. A lot of these drivers have yet to use even 50 seconds. However, Max Shabley in that number 6, back in 11th, right there at that 151 remaining. We still have quite a bit of this race to go. Still 2/3 of it on the board.
You're right about that. We've seen a lot of the top 3 finishers over the last season have really waited until the last 2 laps to utilize the majority of their push to pass so they can just basically keep it pinned for that entire last 2 laps. That, of course, works if you have the advantage. You don't have to play catch up. But if you have to play catch up, then, of course, you need to use that OTS to gain that position back or play defense or whatever have you. So I'll pose this question to you, Logan. What is your preferred method of using the OTS? Would you want to use it early to keep up or to try and get positions and just hope you can defend later? Would you want to use it at the end to try and have the advantage for the fast lap at the end of the race? Or would you just want to be balanced throughout and kind of keep yourself on a schedule knowing you can use an equal amount per 100-second gap?
It really comes down to where you're at in the field. You kind of touched on it. If you're at the front of the pack, there's no need to use it up just yet. JT Smeaton using that exact strategy right now. Has not even touched the OTS system button yet. Still 200 seconds in the bank for that number 2. But you look at the other end of the field. Jansu Foster, who had that black flag to start the race, as we have a look to the inside down into turn 1. Jansu Foster falls back to 16th after serving that penalty, still with 200 seconds on the board of the push to pass as well. That is a driver I would expect to see try to manage that. Once we get to about the midway point of this race, start using that button more and more. But it's uncommon to see that number 3 of Foster so far back, which is very unfortunate on the start of this race.
Contact.
Another contact as we come through turn 7. A little bit of a wheel bang there.
That was a big hit. That was not like, that was almost another one. That was not light contact, is what I was going to say. That was with that lap machine of Chris Afuli. Sarkis tries to take a spot, will take a spot. We've seen a couple passes happen right there. That switch over, as you called it, driver's able to get a good run out there and pass the 7 in that spot. That's the 2nd or 3rd time we've seen that so far today.
See the draft coming into play down the front stretch again with that 6-mile-an-hour south wind at the tail end of these cars. Helps out just a touch, but it does hurt the braking ability as they turn into turn 1.
Oh, contact again!
Nicely. Oh my!
That was Tercet off the racetrack.
Tercet looks for the move to the inside, doesn't quite get the nose there. Luckily, a single car incident will only set Tercet back about 2 positions, back to 13th now for the 16 machine.
Although has Rob Angus right on the rear wing. It's right on board for a few laps with the driver of the 15 running 14th at the moment.
This is a high-speed section, however, through turn 11. Again, you have to be a little bit earlier on the brakes than you would expect, just a touch before that 300-foot marker. And setting up here for turn 13 is crucial when you come out of turn 12. If you take it just a little bit too narrow, you can push off into the grass, and essentially, if you have enough speed, you can end up in the pit wall.
Don't want to be in the pit wall. That's for sure. That's not a good place to be here. Oh, he way overshot that one. Off into the grass.
Looks like the 200-foot marker on that one. That's about as late as you want to be. It's about 350 foot once you are slowing down from 182 plus miles an hour, especially in the draft.
Happens sometimes. You just miss that marker, you're looking at something else, and all of a sudden you're like, uh-oh, not much more I can do here than use the runoff area and try and, you know, keep it from wrecking, because obviously you don't want to hit anything. That would be less than ideal.
Much less than ideal. Right now, all Felipe Sarkis is looking at is the back end of the 12. Miguel Fachado holding down the 11th position as they work their way back to the front stretch. But Sarkis looking to take advantage and inch closer to the top 10. We'll take a look and see what the lap times we have just outside of the top 10 for now. Fachado with a 111.5. Sarkis a 110.2. 1.3 seconds faster around this circuit than Fachado last lap. And the battle is on as we work our way down through our first sector here. Turns 1, 2, 3, and 4. Turn 4 is one of my favorite corners. If you can really maximize your exit there, set up well for the quick chicane of 5 and 6, you can be full throttle out of turn 4 all the way down to your braking zone of turn 7.
A lot of time to be gained there, absolutely, Logan. We've seen drivers struggle out of that section and end up 2 and 3 wide, down into 7. That really tight left-hander, almost, well, actually it is 90 degrees at that point in the racetrack. So you don't want to set yourself up to have to defend that hard. So you got to be good out of 4.
These drivers managing turn 12 a whole lot more smoothly than what we saw to start the race. Could be the jitters and maybe just trying to get settled into this. You know, some people would consider it a rather difficult course. Oh man, trying to break the draft as we come down the front stretch. Machado does not want to give up this position to Sarkis, holds on to the inside line down into turn 1. Sarkis looks to the outside, back to the inside now for turn 2. Trying to set up nicely here. I would expect a attempt on the inside line down into turn 7 once we get there.
And did not get a good run out of 4, like you mentioned. That's going to put a decent gap between those two. I don't think he's going to get there to make an attempt in 7. He's going to have to wait until the front stretch, more than likely, to make another move.
Clark is hunting right now, trying to maximize these corners up just a little bit further ahead. Working our way down through turn 13, back to the right-hander of 14.
Great battles all the way throughout this racetrack. Rosenborough and Center, I believe. So that's Dan Yang. This is the battle for second right now. The closest one on the racetrack at the moment.
Burrow showing great promise in the practice session. One of the fastest drivers on the course, coming in tonight with the highest I rating of our 41.54 strength of field. One of the lowest that we've seen for this series since we picked it up last season. Morgan, what do you think? What are the outcomes?
Driver off the racetrack there. The 21 off the racetrack. Why? I think to finish your question, why do you think we're seeing this this strength of field here today?
Yeah.
I think partially because you mentioned earlier, Indianapolis road course is not the easiest of road courses. It's also not a terribly exciting road course to drive. I mean, it's flat, essentially. There's a little bit of elevation changes. It's almost glass smooth. There isn't a ton of character to it. It's really just 14 corners in a 2.4 mile configuration. There's really no character to it when you go to Spa or you go to Interlagos last week with the elevation changes and all the history there. It's just not the most appealing of courses, and I feel like a lot of drivers saw the schedule and went, ugh, and saw this one for week number 2.
I think that comes down to where you get the definitions of the road courses versus the Grand Prix or the street courses, and you know it comes with a certain level of excitement, exactly like you said, that some drivers just find might not be too appeasing here in the heartland of Indiana.
Although it is a home race for us, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, very much so. Right now, it's still taking a look here. Back at that number 12, Fachado and Sarkis still trying to sort things out. They're pretty well tied with the closest battle on the field with Rosenborough and Yang. Bouncing back and forth between these two battles. It's only a matter of when, not so much of a matter of if somebody's going to make a move.
You just want to stay in touch for now. We're just past halfway in this one. Just keep in touch with the driver in front of you. Hope for a mistake, but if it doesn't happen, really apply that pressure during the second half of the race.
Still find it very interesting. The three of Jansu Foster still has yet to use any of the push to pass in the bank, as well as JT Smeaton. However, Smeaton with a 6.5 second lead over this battle between Dan Yang and Rosenborough, so does not have to use it by any means. Dan Yang currently on cooldown, 142 seconds left versus Rosenborough's 177 and ready to be activated.
Having a look here at JT Smeaton, who, as you mentioned, 6.5 ahead of the field, does not have the fastest lap in the race. I'll give you one guess, Logan. Who has set the fastest lap in this one?
Well, you know, as history would have it, I'm going to have to guess Jansu Foster as I'm going to look down through the timing and scoring here just to confirm. And yes, indeed, it would be Jansu Foster with a 108.115 versus JT Smeaton having the second fastest at a 108.599.
A little further ahead, trio about to have a showdown as we're working through a few lap drivers. Shabley, Fachado, Sarkis, all fairly close to each other.
Don't forget to Ludwig Ranson in there. That is who Shabley
Of course.
He's trying to catch up to, just 0.2 of a second behind. That is the battle for ninth. So we are right here at the back end of our top 10. 4 cars under a blanket here. As Ranson
Spin!
takes a look here off the track.
What
Goes
happened?
Shabley.
What happened there? Let's go back and have a look at that one.
Coming out of turn 4 through the quick chicane of 5 and 6. Then we get our higher speeds down into turn 7. The draft might have just affected Shabley here. Trying to take a look on the outside as Ranson.
Oh, driver's already spun around.
Ooh, so trying to avoid that. A
That's
great
a
job
21.
to not make contact with the 21 of Brecalier. 1 lap down already for the 21, running in the 17th position. Unfortunately, upsets the race for Max Shabley, but stays in the battle. They did not get separated by much. He lost 2 positions out of the top 10, but right back to 12th and all over the rear end of the 9 of Felipe Sarkis, who's still trying to make a move around the 12 of Miguel Fachado.
We don't often see 4 drivers essentially under a blanket as far as this series is concerned. I mean, this is incredible. Oh, we both overshoot it on the outside here. It's going to allow Sarkis to get that position away.
Took about 10 laps for Sarkis to get around Fachado. Finally takes advantage of a mistake. Now Fachado will have to defend against the 6 of Shabley. Down into turn 12. Oh, nearly contact. Max Shabley hard on the brakes way later in the zone than Fachado. That'll engage some separation between the two. It's catch-up time now for the 6 machine, as they will work their way back down the front stretch here on lap 19. We're coming to a close already. These lap times clicking away very quickly, still in the 1 minute, 8 second bracket for our leaders. JT Smeaton, Dan Yang, Brendan Rosenberg will all be right there. Back half of the 108s. Rohan Sanir and company back to 8th. Will still be in the 109s.
Let's have a look at some drivers who haven't got a ton of airtime yet today. Simon Scholes, saw him earlier, had a bit of a slide. Hanging out in that very colorful car, back in 16th position. Velocity Raptors on the side. We've talked about Jansu Foster, obviously one of the fastest cars out here. Jumped the start from the pole. Currently hanging out in the 15th position. Rob Angus had a quiet day. Go ahead.
Still has a good chance to catch back up to the top 10, however. It's
good.
Very close to 14th already, and then from 14th up to 10th is only about 8 seconds of separation.
He's going to have to rip off about a second a lap to get there, but if there's one driver who can do it, it is going to be Jansu Foster, who has that ability in the car and in the setup. Mentioned Rob Angus here in 14th, who is right in front of Jansu. This is probably going to be a pass that happens pretty quickly. Let's see, maybe in turn number 1. Good defense there from Rob Angus.
Foster tries to take the inside line, does make it work down into turn 4. So there's the move for P14. Now it's 7 seconds up to the 16 of Terracetti. And then it's another 2.5 seconds up the road back to that number 6 of Max Shabley.
And this is that quartet of a battle we were looking at earlier. They're still pretty close together, although Ranson and Sarkis have pulled away a little. Oh, actually off the racetrack he goes. Now it's a group again. Ranson had gained about a second on these guys, but now they're all back together again.
Slow on the exit of turn 13 because of that. Now Fachado all over that rear wing. We're going to snake it down to the bottom of the track. Oh, here's a look to the inside. Will the brakes hold? They do. A look to the outside as well as Ranson trying to get back around Sarkis. Doesn't work for now. Fachado waiting for either one of these drivers to make a mistake. And don't forget, Max Shabley right behind, taking a look to the right-hand side. Backs out of it, coming through the chicane.
Yeah, Shabley got put in a bad spot there.
Near contact as we make our way into turn 7, wheel to wheel through that heavy left-hand 90-degree corner. Snaking through the middle portion of the track down into
off the
turn
racetrack!
10.
They all go off the racetrack. Wow.
This is exactly what happens when the battle gets fierce. Miguel Fachado makes the best of it up to P9 for the 12. Shabley follows into the 10th spot. Ranson back to 11th, Tercet to 12th, and Sarkis falls all the way back to 13th.
Yeah, obviously not what those drivers were looking for, to go off the racetrack and fall back. Look a little bit ahead in the battle. We haven't talked about much today. Benjamin David is catching up to Oliveri at this point
David
in the
running
race.
In the 7th position, Oliveri in the 6th spot. 1 second separates these two drivers for that position. We've got just a few laps to figure it out here. Will it be enough for David to catch up? Now back to 1.5 seconds behind Oliveri. Not looking promising at the moment, but back to the battle coming into turn 7.
Oh, Rosenborough's off track.
Rosenborough with major issues appeared. Looked like he might have overshot the braking into turn 12 using the access road.
Let's go back and have a look at it.
Turn 1 of the old.
No need to speculate when you got video evidence. Yeah, just over pushed it, got into that manicured grass, and around it went.
Instead of bringing it back onto the racing surface, a safe call by Brandon Rosenborough to take it to that access road. Do not want to get in the way of anybody else, ruin your race as well as theirs. Take a look to the inside for turn 1 here. Ranson gets the advantage hard on the brakes.
Caught a lot of curve there.
Much so. That makes it stick here. I apologize, I believe that was Tercetti that made that move to the inside line. Ranson falls back to 13th now. Jansu Foster only 1.5 seconds behind this battle.
Yeah, the 3 has been quietly clicking off. Terrific lap time, running 108 flats. No one else even in the 108.5 bracket, so very fast. And it's going to be one of those what could have been days for Jansu Foster.
Black flag on the start of the race can certainly flip it on its head, but nonetheless, a fantastic recovery still has that chance at a top 10 if these drivers ahead keep battling as hard as they have been. Right now has to focus on getting around both Tercet and Ranson. So we move down the front stretch again here. They look to the inside for Ranson, this time by Jansu Foster, locks it up into turn 1, nearly making contact with Tercet. Ranson gets way out ahead, uses that to the advantage. Might have been looking in the rear view a little bit too hard for the driver of the 16.
As they work across 5 and 6, that chicane. You're not missing anything up front. These are the closest battles on the racetrack by a sizable margin. Smeaton still 6.5 ahead of Dan Zhang, who's also 6.5 ahead of Rojan Center. The battle for third is not a close one either. 5 seconds back to Rosenborough. So nothing happening up front. It's all right here. Battle for 10th effectively with all these drivers.
Great battle it has been. It's been going on since about lap 12. Either 1 or 2 drivers involved, all the way up to now 5 drivers that are separated here by a very small margin. Miguel Fachado trying to get around that 6 of Max Shabley, all the way back to the 14th spot of Jansu Foster, still trying to find a hole to get around Ranson and Tercet. Felipe Sarkis in the middle of all of this action, just trying to play catch up now with Fachado for P10.
Oh, wiggle! Wow! I think he might have been a little bit of contact there even. Got the 16 out of shape. Great job saving that car. That could have been a bad time. A lot of throttle application in that part of the racetrack.
Dive down into turn 7. Quick switch back to the right, then the left once more, turn 10. A hard one to get a hold of, as you can see. Foster even having some struggles. A quick recovery, snap of the steering wheel gets him right back the right way. Down into turn 12, still on attack, gets good momentum, looks to the inside here for turn 13, makes it stick. Now, it's all about catching up to Ludwig Ranson for P12.
And I bet Ranson's looking in the mirror, having a little bit of a smirk, thinking, thank goodness it wasn't me getting past in that manner this time. Seen him get past a couple different times in that exact corner, in that exact situation. This time happens to one of his competitors, Tercet.
Foster has finally started activating that push to pass button. However, only 10 seconds used so far. It'll be another 65 seconds before it's ready to be used again. You have to wonder if the timing is just right here to see if Foster can work the way back up into the top 10. Only a matter of time will tell. So we are on board with, I believe this is the 6th of Max Shabley here.
It is. Out of OTS.
At 10 seconds left. So very, very minimal. It will be used very sparingly in a last-ditch effort to defend a position here from Miguel Fachado.
There it is.
Just looking for the second back.
See what it looks like when it runs out, because we haven't really seen that this year. There it is. No light
goes off.
Means no go-go.
That will be the first driver in the field to have used all of the OTS. Felipe Sarkis will be next in line with Max Glor. They're both right around that 30-second mark remaining.
A look up front. Smeaton, massive lead over Dan Zhang. It's 6.5 seconds still. Rojan Center in third position. All 3 drivers on an island, as it were, right now.
Looks like Emanuele Oliveri is trying to catch up to Larry Johnson for a top 5 position. Slowly closing that gap as we come down into turn 1. Johnson's been about a half a second ahead of Oliveri for the last few laps. Looking back now at Shabley, Fachado and Sarkis have both been able to work around.
Yeah, a bit of a mistake. Lost about 4 seconds that lap. Overshot one of the corners. As Jansu Foster about to make a move here on Ranson, contact into the turn 1 braking zone.
Holding on to that inside line for turn 3. Very well set up for turn 4. Jansu Foster making it look easy for a pass for P12. Now just a few more to go. Shavely will be next in line, 0.7 of a second up the road. Still trying to hold on to that rear wing of Felipe Sarkis for P10.
Oliveri trying to take a P5 away. Larry Johnson. Oh, he's going to get alongside. Going to go around the long way here, and he will make the pass. You don't see that very often.
Comes down the track to defend that potential retaliation maneuver to the inside. Larry Johnson has to woe it up behind the 8 of Oliveri. Oliveri having a fantastic race here tonight, up 14 positions from starting P19.
Yeah, by far the biggest mover of the day. Mirrored by Pio Perez, who lost 14 from his 5th place starting position. In fact, exactly mirroring races, which is kind of interesting. But for the final time, out of turn 14, JT Smeaton going to take the white flag across the yard of bricks. One more time around here.
Have to love seeing that white flag in the air after 29 laps completed. Coming through what has been an extremely easy section for JT Smeaton. Now finally using all of the push to pass remaining. We'll see if he can set the fastest lap time of the night. I believe he actually already has.
He has already.
107.9. The only driver into the 107s. Let's see if he can improve on that. We work our way down through 9, 10, and 11 here. Back onto the oval surface between turns 1 and 2. Hard braking for turn 12. A good setup for turn 13 will be imperative here if he wants to get a lightly faster time. A little bit of a wiggle coming out of turn 13, but gets it righted for turn 14. Back to the front stretch, and will take home a win in week number 2 of the Super Formula 23 Formula B Series at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A fantastic drive leading all 30 laps after the mistake from Jansu Foster.
Absolutely a great run here for JT Smeaton. Number 2 machine going to finish number 1 here tonight. How much more you can ask for, really? Other than winning the pole, pretty much a perfect day for JT Smeaton.
Just a few seconds, or a few tenths of a second off, rather, of taking home a triple crown in the event today with winning the pole, most laps led, and winning the race.
Absolutely. Well, now let's have a look at the results of this one. Actually, we still have some drivers to finish. Rob Angus yet to cross the start-finish line. Now, I believe, we have official results of how this one went down. Let's have a look at those results.
Well, we saw it live, but we'll say it again. JT Smeaton, the number 2, started out in second. Will take home the win at Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course. Dan Yang in the 4 claims one more position. Started in 3rd, finishes out in 2nd. Rohan Sanir moves up 7 spots from P10 to start the race, up to a podium P3. Brandon Rosenborough holds it down, started 4th and finishes in 4th with the number 1 machine. Emanuele Oliveri in the 8 will move up 14 spots, an exponential amount of spots here for a P5 finish. Biggest mover of the race. Larry Johnson was the last one to fall victim to Oliveri. The 13 finishes in 6th. Benjamin David in the 18 takes home P7 on the night. Max Glore in P8. Miguel Fachado in P9. And last but not least, in the top 10, Jansu Foster did it. Recovered back to a top 10 finish.
And only 3/10 away from finishing in the 9th position at that. Felipe Sarkis finishes in 11th here tonight. Ludwig Ranson in the 12th position. Shabley going to finish in 13th after an off-track late. Tercetti finishes in 14th tonight. Rob Angus, last driver on the lead lap. We don't say that very often in this series. He finishes 15th in the 15. Scholl's had issues tonight. He finishes 16th, one lap down. Brakelier finishes in 17th after what was a rough night for him. Chris Afuli pulls off the racetrack early to finish in 18th. Nitty 19th. Perez in 20th. And last driver on the field today was Zanin in 21st. Well, Logan, that was a great time, I believe, to chat with some drivers. I think we have JT Smeaton we've caught up with.
Yes, we do have JT Smeaton ready to go here. JT Smeaton, you've got Logan and Morgan up here in the VSPEED booth. You have a copy, driver?
Hello.
Well, a fantastic race. You started out P2, just a measly couple thousandths of a second from taking home the pole, but a quick mistake to start the race from Jansu Foster set you up perfectly to lead every single lap of the race. How imperative was that for you to come home with the win here tonight?
Oh yeah, it feels awesome. This was a long time coming. Just there's so many quick drivers on the grid, and just to win is it really means a lot. And yeah, shame about Kevin's jump start. I noticed that. I actually almost jumped the start as well, but that was unfortunate by him. Yeah, I'm just overall just really happy and satisfied with that.
Nothing to be dissatisfied with by any means. Morgan, did you have something for our race winner?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, so you get out to that lead, and of course you kind of kept it consistent, about 6.5 seconds back to Dan Zhang. Was there anything going through your mind other than just hit the apexes? You probably noticed you didn't have the fast lap at one point in the race. Kind of when you got later in the race, other than trying to win the thing, what were you thinking about? What was your goal? How did you keep yourself kind of focused on the task at hand?
Oh yeah, staying focused was definitely a big thing. It's a long race, but yeah, I knew once I got the lead, my focus was just on nailing every apex, just watching the gap behind, make sure I nailed all the like inputs and all of that stuff. But yeah, it was definitely felt like a long race. But yeah, just keeping the focus towards the end was critical to getting the win.
Well, a win came in spectacular fashion. It's not too often you see one person leading the entire thing. Plus, like we mentioned, that 7.6-second lead over second place is just incredible to watch. Fantastic job here today, JT. Is there anybody that you would like to say thanks to for your performance at Indianapolis?
Yeah, I just want to give a big shout out to everyone that supported me, my parents, friends. Yeah, thank you everyone for giving me the support, to come out here and put on a good show. And once again, big shout out to you guys. Always love watching the broadcast, and yeah, hopefully we can continue with a great season. But yeah, thank you everyone.
Looking forward to it as well. A win in week 2 is a great way to set the tone. Get to celebrating, JT. We will see you next week when we take it to the Red Bull Ring.
See you next week. Thank you guys.
Well, Morgan, we don't have any of our other top 3 finishers currently in the chat, but we do have Kevin Jansu Foster, ready to go here. Let's have a quick word. Kevin Foster, you've got Logan and Morgan up here in the VSPEED booth. You have a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy. How are you doing, guys?
Doing fantastic ourselves. Unfortunate circumstances for yourself, however, but a great recovery back to a top 10 finish for the number 3. Now, we saw a little bit of a jump there to start the race right off the get-go. It set the pole, and you had to go all the way back to the back end of the field, but a fantastic drive brings you back up through it. What was going on there at the start of the race? Just a little bit of an issue with maybe the clutches engaging correctly? What happened to you, Kevin?
Um, I guess it just comes down to the start procedure with this car. It's a bit finicky, and I guess the one button on my wheel for the brake was not engaging correctly. I could see that it was flickering, so I just kind of had to commit. Um, that, and I think it's been like 2 months since I've seen you guys, so I guess I can just chop it down to being a bit rusty. Completely my mistake. So kind of threw away my own race right before it even started.
You mentioned obviously that the start didn't go your way, but the rest of it was simply spectacular. Obviously, had the drive-through penalty and still ended up finishing in the 10th position and within a stone's throw finishing in 9th with the fast lap by 0.4 of a second. I mean, how fun was it for you, even though you had the mistake, to pass and fight through the field to get up to a top 10?
Yeah, well, I think on lap 3 or 4, I even spun the car coming out of 5, just caught the curb wrong. So at that point, it was just like I was seeing red after the start because I knew that I blew it, and then served the drive through. And man, I could hear the cars going down the track and being on the other side of the pit wall, just stuck at 64 kph. It's like a real moment to reflect on that mistake. And yeah, seeing red for a little bit, pushing a bit too hard, made my own mistake and set me back another 10 seconds on the race time. But then I just kind of got into a rhythm, got in a groove, and started pounding away the laps. And you never know, right? With racing, never give up. And there's no obviously there's no safety cars in iRacing, but if there was an accident or something that bunches up the field, like I just wanted to be there in case anything happened. And once I saw 15th, 14th, 13th, I could see that 10th was just a stone's throw. Managed to work my way past 12th and 11th, and right at the end got up into 10th. So it was yeah, definitely pushing every lap to make that happen.
Well, now for next week, it's all about setting tonight aside and really focusing down. You got to just have that ability to forget the bad ones and on to the next week you go. How are we feeling about taking these Super Formula cars to the Red Bull Ring?
Yeah, Red Bull Ring's next on the calendar, hey. Yeah, it's a fun track, fast track. It's going to be lots of drafting, and yeah, like you said, you just gotta put it in the past. There's nothing I can do about it now, and yeah, bounce back. Hopefully for next week, I'll be here.
Fingers crossed. And again, fantastic job to work your way back up to a P10 finish. A lot of drivers I know would probably just elect to put it behind the wall, but perseverance pays off tonight. Kevin, who do you have to say thanks to for your performance at Indianapolis?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, congrats to JT. Won the race, real pasty guy. So it's yeah, real good guy to win the race. Aside from that, got to thank my family, my friends, everyone that supports me, Sim Racing Nation, Alan, Daniel, everybody on the esports side of things that are always egging me to come back even when life gets a little bit difficult with work. Got to thank especially my sister and my mom who have left for Korea. My sister's moved there, and so she'll be watching from abroad. And got to thank my girlfriend Adele. So she was putting a lot of support in the chat.
Yes, she was.
Yeah, a lot indeed. Love to see that. Well, congratulations again, Kevin. We will hopefully see you next week.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Take care.
That is about going to do it for the interviews here today. Well, Logan, it was a fun one here in Indianapolis. The Super Formula B Series here on iRacing in the officials on a nice Saturday afternoon here in North America. Fun wherever you are in the world. Gotta give a big shout out again to some of the donors that have helped make this thing possible. Graham Crackers Racing. No matter if you're searching for speed or a place to race, you found it. Stop by Graham Crackers Racing Discord server where everybody's welcome. Looking for a team? You're in luck. We're actively recruiting for both Super Formula and NASCAR teams. Join by using the link in the description below or the QR code on your screen. And check out Race Ready 3D's link in the description below. Also, big shout out to SimRacingNation.com, SRN, and Strovic for everything he does for us here on the channel. And if you want to be a part of these races, make sure you get that I rating up and join us here. Just join the official race. It's free to race as long as you have the car on the track. Definitely want to see as many drivers as we can in these races. And if you want to keep making sure that these broadcasts happen on a weekly basis, check out the donation link in the description below. These broadcasts are funded fully by donations here, so definitely want to keep that going to continue to bring you this awesome action week in and week out. Logan, any final thoughts?
what a fantastic race we had on our hands. We got spread out, but a great battle that formed up in the middle of the field. And that's the best thing about these official series. There's going to be a battle somewhere within the field, no matter what track you're at. It could be at the front, it could be at the middle, it could be at the back. It doesn't matter. It's going to happen. And that's what we are accustomed to seeing here on these fine Saturday afternoons. So happy to be back. Looking forward to the rest of the season with you, Morgan.
Absolutely. And for everyone who makes this thing possible, everyone at VSPEED, Bradley, Adam, Eddie, and all the other commentators and producers. For Logan Grokell, I've been Morgan Cook. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a moment of the racing action. We'll catch you next time right here on VSPEED. A little bit later tonight, NSRLA ARCA Series, where we're going to crown a champion. Make sure to tune in for that one just later in the evening. See you next time here on VSPEED.